Hi, fifth graders. Hope you're doing fine. I'm going to read to you the story of the week that is called Tonweya and the Eagles. Let's begin. Everyone was excited. It was the month of grass appearing, and the whole camp was busy getting ready to move over the plains to a new home. They would be close to more game, and they looked forward to the move. Everyone, that is, except Chano. He loved this camping spot and already felt lonely for the distant hills. Takawin had packed the parfleche cases with clothing and food and strapped them to a travoy made of two trailing poles with a skin net stretched between them. Another travoy lay on the ground ready for the new teepee. China was very happy when Tazinagi suggested the three of them ride up to their favorite hills for the last time. As the three of them rode along, Tazinagi called Chano's attention to the two large birds circling overhead. There were Wangli, the eagle. Chano knew they were sacred to his people and that they must never be killed. He looked at the eagle feather in his father's hair, a sign of bravery, and wondered why it was that the Lakotas, as well as many other Indians, held Wangli, the eagle, in such great respect. Someday he would ask his father about this. The two eagles they were watching did not seem afraid of the three travelers. They flew nearer and nearer, swooping down in every narrowing circle. They seemed to be trying to attract the attention of the travelers. Suddenly Chano called out, "Look, 8! The feathers on their wings are tipped with red. I never knew the Wangli had red feathers." "Are you sure of this, my son?" Tazinagi asked. "Yes, father. Both birds had tips of bright red on their wings." Takawin said, "Tazinagi, our son has been favored by the sight of the sacred birds of Tonweya. Few have seen them, and it is a sign of good for him." "What do you mean, 8?" asked Chano. "What are the sacred birds of Tonweya?" "They are the eagles who saved Tonweya's life many, many snows ago. Tonweya was a great chief and a great medicine man." Chano immediately begged his father to tell him the story. Tazinagi motioned for Chano to ride by his side and began. It was the summer when the big ball of fire fell from the sky. A band of Lakotas were camping just about where we are now. Among them was a young man whose name was Tonweya. He was not only good to look upon, but he was a great runner and hunter. He was very brave in the face of danger. Everyone said that someday he would be a chief. Brave and good chiefs are always needed in every tribe. One day Tonweya went out hunting. He found a small herd of buffalo grazing near the hills, and picking out a young fat cow, sent an arrow straight into her heart. While he was skinning the buffalo, he noticed a large eagle circling above him. Watching her flight, he saw that she settled on a ledge of rock projecting from a high step cliff about a quarter mile away. Tonweya knew there must be a nest there. He was determined to find it. If there were young eaglets, he would capture them and raise them for their feathers. He looked carefully at the ledge. He saw it would be impossible to climb up to it from the plain below. Excuse me. The only was from above, and getting down would be very dangerous. After skinning the buffalo, Tonweya cut the green hide into one long, narrow strip. Then he stretched and twisted the strip through the dust until he had a long, strong rope of hide. Coiling this about him, he made his way to the tip of the cliff right above the eagle's nest on the ledge. Fastening one end of this rawhide rope to a jack pine, he let the other fall over the ledge. Looking down, he saw that it hung within a few feet of the nest. His plan was to slide down the rope and tie the eaglets to the end. Then after he had pulled himself up again, he could draw them up after him. Great honor would come to him. A pair of captive eagles would supply feathers for many warriors. Tonweya carefully lowered himself over the ledge of the cliff and soon stood up on the ledge. There were two beautiful young eaglets in the nest, full feathered, though not yet able to fly. He tied them to his rope and prepared to climb up. But just as he placed his weight on the rope, to his great surprise, it fell down beside him. The green hide had been slipping at the knot where he had tied it to the tree, while he pulled on it to go up again. The knot came loose and down came the rope. Tonweya realized immediately that he was trapped. Only Wakantanka, the great mystery, could save him from a slow death by starvation and thirst. He looked below him. There was a sheer drop of many hundreds of feet, with not even the slightest projection by which he might climb down. When he tried to climb up, he could find neither handhold nor foothold. Wongbli had chosen well the place for a nest. Despite his brave heart, terror gripped Tonweya. He stood looking up in the direction he knew his people to be. He cried out, "Ma Hiopo, Ma Hiopo, help me!" But only the echo of his own voice answered. As the sun was setting, the mother eagle returned to her nest. She screamed in rage when she saw a man with her eaglets. Round and round she flew. Now and then she would charge with lightning speed toward Tonweya and the young birds. The two eaglets flapped their wings widely and called out to her. Finally, in despair, the mother eagle made one more swoop toward her nest, and then screaming defiantly, flew off and disappeared. Night fell, and the stars came out. Tonweya was alone on the ledge with the two little birds. When the sun came up, Tonweya was very tired. He had not slept during the night. The ledge was so narrow, he was afraid he might roll off if he fell asleep. The sun rose high in the heavens and then started its descent into the west. Soon it would be night. Tonweya looked forward with dread to the lonely vigil he must again keep. He was very hungry and so terribly thirsty. The second day, Tonweya noticed a small spruce growing in a cleft of the rocks some 4 feet above him. He tied a piece of his rope to this tree, and he fastened the other end around his waist. That way, even if he stumbled, he would not fall over the ledge. More important still, he could chance some sleep, which he needed badly. The third day passed, and the others had heat, hunger, unquenchable thirst. The hope that some of his people might come in search of him was gone. Even if they came, they would never think of looking for him on the cliffs. The mother of the eaglets did not return. Tonweya's presence had frightened her away. By the time the two eaglets, seeing that Tonweya had no intention of hurting them, had made friends with him, they allowed Tonweya to touch them at will. Tonweya could see that they were as hungry as he was. So taking out his knife, he cut small pieces from the rawhide rope and fed them. This act of kindness removed the last vertige of fear they might have had. They played all about him. They allowed him to hold them aloft. They flapped their wings bravely as he lifted them toward the sun. As he felt the upward pull of their wings, there came to him an idea. Since he had no wings of his own, why could he not make use of the wings of his eagle brother? He raised his arms toward the sky and called upon Wakantanka for wisdom. The night of the third day, the one on which he had fed the eaglets for the first time, was raw and chill. When Tonweya stretched out for what little sleep he could get, he shivered with the cold. As if understanding his need, the two little eaglets left their nest and coming over to where he lay, nestled their warm, fluffy bodies close beside him. In a few moments, Tonweya was asleep. While he was asleep, he dreamt. In his dream, Wakantaka spoke to him. He told him to be brave. The two eagles would save him. Tonweya awoke suddenly. The eagles were still beside him. As they felt him move, they nestled even closer to him. He placed his arm around them. He knew that his time to die had not yet come. He would once more see his people. He was no longer afraid. For days thereafter, Tonweya fed the rawhide rope to his eagle friends. Luckily, it was a long rope, for it was, of course, almost a whole buffalo hide. But while the eaglets thrived on it and grew larger and stronger each day, Tonweya grew thinner and weaker. It rained one day, and water gathered in the hollows of the rocks on the ledge. Still, he was very hungry and thirsty. He tried to think only of caring for the eaglets. Each day, Tonweya would hold them up by their legs and let them try their wings. Each day, the pull on his arms grew stronger. Soon it was so powerful it almost lifted him from his feet. He knew the time was coming for him to put his idea into action. He decided he must do it quickly. For weak as he was, he would be unable to do it after a few more days. The last of the rawhide was gone. The last bit of water on the ledge was drunk. Tonweya was so weak he could hardly stand. With an effort, he dragged himself upright and called his eagle brothers to him. Standing on the edge of the ledge, he called to Wakantaka for help. He grasped the eaglet's legs in each hand, and closing his eyes, he jumped. For a moment he felt himself falling. Then he felt the pull on his arms. Opening his eyes, he saw that the two eagles were flying easily. They seemed to be supporting his weight with little effort. In a moment, they had reached the ground. Tonweya lay there, too exhausted, too weak to move. The eagles remained by his side, guarding him. After resting a while, Tonweya slowly made his way to a little stream nearby. He drank deeply of its cool water. A few berries were growing on the bushes there. He ate them ravenously. Strengthened by even this little food and water, he started off in the direction of the camp. His progress was slow, for he was compelled to rest many times. Always the eaglets remained by his side, guarding him. On the way, he passed the spot where he had killed the buffalo. The coyotes and vultures had left nothing but bones. However, his bow and arrows were just where he had left them. He managed to kill a rabbit upon which he and his eagle friend feasted. Late in the afternoon, he reached the camp, only to find that his people had moved on. It was late. He was very tired, so he decided to stay there that night. He soon fell asleep, the two eagles pressing close beside him all night. The sun was high in the sky when Tonweya awoke. The long sleep had given him back much strength. After once more giving thanks to Wakantaka for his safety, he set out after his people. For 2 days he followed their trail. He lived on the roots and berries he found along the way and what little game he could shoot. He shared everything with his eagle brothers who followed him. Sometimes they flew overhead. Sometimes they walked behind him, and now and then they rested on his shoulders. Well, along in the afternoon of the second day, he caught up with the band. At first, they were frightened when they saw him. Then they welcomed him with joy. They were astonished at his story. The two eagles who never left Tonweya amazed them. They were glad that they had always been kind to Wambly and had never killed them. The time came when the eagles were able to hunt food for themselves, and though everyone expected them to fly away, they did not. True, they would leave with the dawn on hunting forays, but when the evening drew near, they would fly back fearlessly and enter Tonweya's teepee, where they passed the night. Everyone marveled at the sight. But eagles, like men, should be free. Tonweya, who by now understood their language, told them they could go. They were to enjoy the life, the great mystery, Wakantaka had planned for them. At first they refused, but when Tonweya said if he ever needed their help, he would call for them, they consented. The tribe gave a great feast in their honor. In gratitude for all they had done, Tonweya painted the tips of their wings a bright red to denote courage and bravery. He took them up on a high mountain. He held them once more toward the sky, and bidding them a goodbye, released them. Spreading their wings, they soared away. Tonweya watched them until they disappeared in the eye of the sun. Many snows have passed, and Tonweya has long been dead. But now and then the eagles with the red-tipped wings are still seen. There are always two of them, and they never show any fear of people. Some say they are the original sacred eagles of Tonweya, for the Wambly lives for many snows. Some think they are the children of the sacred ones. It is said whoever sees the red-tipped wings of the eagles is sure of their protection as long as he is fearless and brave. And only the fearless and brave may wear the eagle feather tipped with red. When Tasinagi finished the story, he looked to see if the red-winged eagles were still following them. They were there. He knew then that his son Chano was one of those to be blessed by great good in his life. And this is the end. Hope you liked it. Hi. Love you.